Part 85 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. In this part, I'm going to go over how I discovered a few months after our landmark PTSD civil trial verdict for in and around $80 million, how I discovered that the transcript was edited to remove the judge's orders and to remove the judge so that the money could not be collected, and not 1 cent has been collected in 3.5 years since the judgment was made. So it's now 2-3 months after the verdict in 2021, and in that time I read the deposition of Ray Nicholson and saw all the perjury, but it was like, oh, what a jerk. At least he didn't get on the stand. But it would have been better if I'd known about the deposition, because then we could have caught him in lies on the stand in front of the jury. But whatever, the past is the past. But remember when I said on the punitive trial day at the very final end of the trial, when my attorney asked for a 60-day delay and the judge was like, no, you should have the debtors, like the conference to, seize and freeze the assets and stuff. We should do that in 30 days. And my attorney was like, no, 60 is fine. Even though my attorney remembers it the other way around. But either way, that whole conversation was not in the transcript. So even if I'm incorrect and it was my attorney that asked for 30 days and whatever, doesn't matter. We're both wrong and we're both right, because I went and contacted the court reporter from the civil trial. Now, usually Judge Susan Bryant Deason has a regular court reporter that she uses for most of her hearings, but she wasn't used. An independent stenographer was brought in, and her name is BrendaSanches. I've mentioned her briefly before. BrendaSanches, and her CSR number is 13019. So I reached out to Brenda and I said, I'd like to get my hands on everything. I would like the transcript, the notes, audio, whatever, all of it. And she responded to me and she said, okay, it's about 2,200-ish pages and it's going to cost you $8,000. Now, normally, I think attorneys usually pay for transcripts and stuff because you use it for evidence, but my attorneys didn't get a lot of the transcripts and stuff. And they also said that they had no reason for this transcript. But I was like, why would you not want it? This is a landmark trial in your career, not even PTSD settlements, whatever, but whatever. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pay for it. The last of my savings, I'm just going to get it, because once I paid this $8,000, it's going to lead to proving corruption and then freezing and seizing the first 15 million or so that the Drizzes have, that I've found, that not even a forensic accountant has brought in to find the rest. We can start with that, So I'm texting with BrendaSanches, the court reporter, and she's like, I can get it to you within 30 days. I forget if it's I think statutorily it's 30 days. They have to get it to you after you pay for the transcript. So she also said part of that fee is she pays a proofreader to then proofread her work before she sends it to the client, me. So it's October 1st, just in 2021. It's just a few months after the trial. And I sent the $8,000 in PayPal, sent it to her. She received it. And so I was like, okay, it's October 1st. So November 1st, we're going to have a transcript. Okay. November 2nd comes along and I'm not hearing from her. So I reach out to the court reporter, and it's all text. And I was like, hey, there's no transcript. What's going on? And she was like, oh, I was attacked by a dog. And I also have another transcript request. So it'll be December 1st that you'll get it. So now we're talking 2 months. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm so sorry you got attacked by a dog. That must be horrible. Please heal up. And yeah, December 1st sounds good. So December 1st hits and I don't hear anything. So I reach out to her and I was like, hey, what's going on with the transcript? And she's like, oh, well, I went through some family stuff and the transcript should arrive. Part of it should arrive today, and then the part of it will arrive another day. And so I was like, well, hold on a second. So if it arrives tomorrow, December 2nd, that's 62 days out now from when I paid you $8,000. So I was a little worried at this point. But I did get, by December 2nd, 62 days after I paid her, I did get the transcript in the mail. And the first thing I did, and it's I've shown it to you, I've shown you pictures, it's a stack this high of papers. First thing I did was I skipped down to the punitive trial because I wanted to check over that conversation that my attorney and I had disagreed on who said what. We agreed on what was said, but we just disagreed on who said what. And remember, I also went and asked in writing to witnesses and jurors that were present afterwards. I had their information, and I asked them the same question. They all remember it the same way I remember it. But again, doesn't matter because it's just the fact that the conversation was had. I go to the punitive trial transcript, I should have just grabbed it, but whatever. But it's like this thick because it was only like 2 hours long, and it's like 20 pages or something. And in that 20 pages, there was no sign of that conversation about, hey, let's delay this trial to 60 days, whatever. And in fact, the trial, the script starts midway through a conversation, midway through a sentence. And that's never how the transcript starts, because your job as a court reporter is to start with everything. And that means the judge walking out and going, good morning, everyone. Oh, good, everyone's here. Okay, we have these documents. Let's get started. That's how every single, and as you guys know, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of court hearings. That's how they all start. But this one starts mid-conversation, and the judge's like, well, irrespective of that, I really feel like, and it's just like, oh. So obviously, I reach out to BrendaSanches, the court reporter, on January 5th. You know, I let the holidays go by and all that stuff. January 5th, 2022. And I tell her that the transcript I paid for is incomplete. And by the way, not only was it incomplete, she removed William Jolson's name from every single day of the trial. 2,200 pages. She removed his name and replaced it with somebody's name who has no connection whatsoever to the civil trial. Nobody were like, he wasn't present. He wasn't being sued. She just picked a name and put it in there and scrubbed it of William Jolson. So it's incorrect in many ways, and this is $8,000. I want a correct script. You know what I'm talking about? So BrendaSanches ignored that message of me letting her know. So then it's like, why are we all arguing? Why don't we just use the evidence? So I reached out to BrendaSanches about 2 weeks after that on January 18th, and I said, yeah, I'm going to need your original notes and audio from the trial. I'd like to compare that so we can see what you missed. And she did respond to that. And then she said, well, maybe what you're talking about was off the record. It's like, nope, because guess what? Even when it's off the record, it'll say off the record. And then it'll have the entire off the record conversation in the transcript. That's your job. That's how every single hearing transcript looks like and reads like. So this court reporter refused to give me the stenographic notes. She refused to give the audio. She didn't get it to me on time. And she removed one of the defendant's names and replaced it with a random person's name. And she removed an entire conversation of the judge specifically saying, we need to have this final status conference type of debtor's exam, whatever you call it, 30 days after the verdict, or else you guys are never going to get your money. These guys are so shady. All of that's removed. And in those 60 to 90 days after the verdict, the transcript changed, the judge was replaced, and we never got our money. Kind of like right after the criminal prelim in 2016, when the transcript was edited and altered so that my star witness, the manager at the Nice Guy Bar, who described seeing a woman having her skull bashed in, suddenly the transcript said a man, a mystery man who we don't know who he is, was being attacked, and that's it. And at the end of that trial, the amazing Judge Michael E. Pastor was also removed and replaced with an unprecedentedly lenient judge, just like this one. So you guys having some pattern recognition here? So then I decided to report BrendaSanches to the California Court Reporters Board in May of 2022. I sent them the emails, I sent them everything, and I even said, and your star witness to this investigation you're gonna do, it's me, it's the jurors, it's the witnesses that were all present, and specifically, it's the judge, because she's gonna remember if her words were removed. So they said, we'll get on it, we'll investigate it. 2 months later, I got an email from the Court Reporters Board, and it pretty much said, we've completed our investigation and there's no violation. They didn't reach out to one witness to get their statement on what was seen and what was heard. So that's why we haven't gotten our money. That's how deep the corruption goes for my case. Everybody from probation officers to doctors to judges, DAs, LAPD officers, attorney after attorney after attorney, more than you know, down court reporters to the Court Reporters Board, all these people bending over backwards to make sure that we aren't safe. I want to thank everybody for sticking with me through this entire long-winded series of mine. I'm going to do the second part of it over on IG when I start covering the billionaire trial in April. I'm going up against Blaze Pizza. Thank you guys so much. I love you so much. You have healed a part of me, and I can't thank you enough, and I hope you'll continue to follow my story over there. Thank you.